Hello. You probably heard this phrase, Mom, I want a smartphone or tablet because everybody at school has one, and they will laugh at me for not having one. That phrase is often used by kids to persuade their parents into buying them handheld devices. Smartphones are convenient, but parents have to decide when their children are mature enough to have their own smartphone. Children are unable to comprehend the purpose of having a smartphone at a young age. Smartphones can lead to many problems when young kids get their handheld devices. So handheld computer technology is harmful to children. I'm going to show you, number one, smartphones are harmful for children's brain development. Number two, kids are developing withdrawal symptoms from addiction to handheld devices. Number three, smartphones and tablets can have detrimental effects on children's body development. Number one, smartphones are harmful for children's brain development. Children's increased use of handheld devices could delay the development of parts of their brains that affect social skills. Psychology professor Timothy Cowell said, parents who use phones and iPads as a substitute for their own interactions are compromising the development of the attention center of the brain. The early years of childhood are when the brain is the most susceptible to suggestion and molding. Parents who let their children use their devices during awkward situations are promising their kids' ability to start conversations in the future. The psychologists at UCLA conducted a new study that revealed that increase in the use of digital media and less time spent on face-to-face interactions have led to a decline in social skills among kids. The psychologists studied two sets of 11 and 12-year-old kids from the same school. 51 kids lived together for 5 days at a camp, and the other 54 attended school in the same time frame. The camp banned students from using their electronic devices. At the beginning and end of the study, both groups were evaluated for their ability to recognize other people's emotions and to test their social ability. The children at the camp improved significantly in their social ability compared to other groups that continued to use their devices at school. The research implied that children need more face-to-face interactions to improve their social skills. Conversation takes practice, and the dependence on devices can make it harder for children who are struggling socially. And nowadays, a lot of kids use their smartphones as an avoidance strategy. They'll see if they got a text message or pretend that they are using their phones when they see strangers. And electronic devices make the kids less creative. Your brain needs to be bored to be creative. But kids nowadays do not get bored easily because of their electronic devices. Jean V. Bell, the director of Interaction and Experience Research at Intel, says boredom is linked to creativity. Most of your creativity thoughts come when your mind is disengaged, such as taking a walk or daydreaming. But when kids are using their handheld devices, they are always engaged, such as playing games or texting. And time tends to slow down when they are bored, but that's when their brain kicks in to entertain themselves and creative thoughts come into your mind. And again, psychology professor Timothy Cowell said, boredom coping mechanisms can increase in overall attention span because kids can be engaged depending on the importance of information. The devices do not allow the kids to cope with boredom. It's like giving the kids the solution to a puzzle without letting them solve it first. Number two, smartphones and tablets can affect children's body development. There are numerous health issues that occur when smartphones are used for extended periods of time. There's a symptom called eye posture. Eye posture is excessive stress and pain to neck muscles caused when people are slouching over your phone for hours at a time. According to a study from the UK, 84% of those who track experience back pain are mainly due to being hunched over smartphones and tablets. Kids are unlike adults because they will get addicted and they will stay on their smartphone screen for hours. And electronic devices are not good for eyes. Opticians say that overusing them have an increase of eye damage. When kids are young and they get vision problems, it will be hard for them to use their eyes for a good purpose, such as studying or reading. Their eyes will only get worse if they study or read for a long time. Optician Handy Hepworth said, blue-violet light is potentially dangerous and toxic to the back of the eyes. So over a longer period of time, it can potentially damage your eyes. Number three, Kids are developing withdrawal symptoms from being too addicted to their handheld devices. Withdrawal symptoms happens when children are deprived of or cut off from their devices, and they'll start getting angry at their parents for taking them away. There was a study conducted by Common Sense Media that showed that 41% of nowadays teenagers are addicted to their smartphones. Dr. Michael Dow, an addiction expert, said too much smartphone use can cause people to disconnect from reality. The smartphone withdrawal can cause also physical symptoms, such as anxiety, insomnia, and even depression. It is really hard for kids to set limits for themselves. Researchers from the University of Worcester have found that smartphone users have increased levels when they do not receive text messages. And kids often have an obsessive need to check every incoming message, notification, or text. Usually it is the notifications from social networks and text that drives the anxiety. And now I've showed you that handheld devices affect the kids' social skill, cause pain to the neck and back, and can damage your eyes at a young age. And kids will not let their parents take away their devices. And that is why handheld devices are harmful for children. Thank you.
All right, John, let me start with the things that I think are pretty strong. It's very easy to follow the organization. You've got the numerical signpost on each point as you're going through it. I do think the transitions could be a little bit smoother because sometimes it just feels like I'm going through a checklist on this. And yeah, I think it would flow more evenly if you gave us better transitions. But in terms of clarity, you're in good shape here. I thought you did an excellent job on the first point, citing a variety of testimonies to support your point. You got some statistical information later in the presentation that was very effective. There are a couple of hypothetical examples that are referred to. I think it would be more helpful if we had some additional practical examples. The sources on most of the quotes and the studies are very consistently presented, so I think you're sharp on that. The preview of the contents was excellent. I know that you said the proposition because I was listening for it, and I know it's the thing that occurred right before the preview that you presented, but because you've got this longer introduction, I'm not sure that everybody will have picked out what the proposition was. So even though I heard it and I was paying attention for it, I think that you could still make it a little bit more explicit, and that will help your casual listeners a little bit. So it's not so much that you're getting dinged on that, it's just a recommendation to do something a little bit more effective. I thought that, like I said, the citation of the information was really good. I thought that you had a lot of information on each of the points, so your generalizations sound pretty sound. You do a good job speaking to the audience. You're not overly dependent on the notes, and you finished right when you should. So that's always good news. Thank you. All right, Mari is going to be next. That's Mari Ellis for some of you.